Have you ever felt that the more you chase after a man, the less he values you? What if I told you there's a way to turn the tables without begging for attention? High-value women don't argue, don't beg for love, and don't exhaust themselves trying to convince a man to treat them well. They know how to use reverse psychology to their advantage. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. Stay with me until the end, because this technique can completely change the way he sees you. What is reverse psychology, and why does it work? Have you ever wanted a man to value you more, only to feel like the more you try, the less he cares? Reverse psychology can be your best ally. Instead of begging for attention or trying to convince him to change, this technique makes him realize, on his own, what he's losing. It's not about manipulation, it's about understanding how the male mind works. Confident women know that less is more, and that often silence speaks louder than 1,000 words. Men love a challenge. If you react predictably, arguing, demanding, or showing that you're hurt, he feels like he's in control. But when you do the unexpected, like pulling away without drama, or acting as if nothing happened, he starts to wonder if he still has that power over you. This uncertainty triggers his instinct to chase. And that's when things start to shift in your favor. For example, if he starts ignoring you or acting distant, the worst thing you can do is chase him and demand explanations. That only confirms that he still has your heart in the palm of his hand. But if you remain lighthearted, unbothered, and unfazed, he realizes he might have made a mistake. Your lack of emotional reaction is what makes him rethink his actions. This isn't about playing dirty. It's simply a smart way to value yourself without begging. Now, you might be thinking, what if he does something really wrong and acts like it's nothing? The way you respond in that moment can determine everything. And believe me, most women make a huge mistake here without even realizing it. What's the worst way to react when a man disrespects you? When a man does something that hurts you, it's natural to want to react impulsively, questioning him, demanding answers, or trying to make him feel guilty. The problem? That only reinforces his behavior. If he realizes he can easily throw you off balance, he knows he has control. But don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to tolerate anything. It just means there's a much more effective way to handle the situation. The worst thing you can do is seek validation, trying to convince him that he's wrong and needs to change. If a man has already decided to act a certain way, the more you insist, the more he feels in charge. And if you threaten to leave but have no real intention of following through, he sees right through it and won't take you seriously. This is a very common mistake that only weakens your position. So, what's the best way to react? Instead of wasting energy trying to make him understand something he doesn't want to see, focus on yourself. Show through actions, not words, that you don't tolerate that kind of behavior. Your absence, your indifference, and your firm posture have a much greater impact than any argument. Men only learn to value you when they realize they could actually lose you. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you usually react when you feel a man isn't treating you the way you deserve? Have you noticed that certain reactions might have made things worse? Tell me in the comments. And speaking of strategic responses, there's a form of silent punishment that shakes any man to his core. Nothing makes a man more restless than uncertainty. If you argue, cry, or demand explanations, he knows exactly what's going on. But if you simply pull away without a word, he starts to wonder, did she lose interest? Is there someone else? And that doubt messes with his head far more than any argument. Strategic distancing isn't about giving the cold shoulder for revenge. It's about removing yourself when you see you're not being treated as you should be. If he feels like he can act however he wants without consequences, why would he change? But when you disappear, even briefly, he feels the impact of your absence. That space forces him to reflect and decide if he really wants you in his life. The key to making this work? Naturalness. If he reaches out to you, don't show anger or neediness. Just go about your life, busy and happy, without making him the center of your attention. This attitude sends a powerful message. You don't need him to be okay. And when a man realizes he doesn't have total control over you, he understands that he has to earn his place in your life. But is silence always the best response? What if, instead of pulling away, you act in a completely unexpected way and turn the game around? There's a form of punishment that doesn't involve disappearing. It's a move that catches any man off guard. When being sweet is the best punishment, sometimes the best way to make a man realize he messed up isn't through silence or coldness, but with a response so unexpected that he doesn't even know how to react. Most men expect arguments or distance, but when a woman responds with lightness and confidence, without resentment, he realizes he doesn't have the emotional control he thought he had. Being sweet in this context doesn't mean accepting disrespect or pretending nothing happened. It's about maintaining your composure without engaging in unnecessary drama. Imagine he tries to provoke you, expecting you to explode, and you simply smile and say, "Thank you for showing me who you are." He's left speechless because you refuse to play his game, and that attitude radiates strength and maturity. Moreover, when you respond with kindness and calmness, he feels the weight of his own actions. If he's used to relationships filled with fights and drama, encountering a woman who doesn't fall into that cycle can be shocking. He realizes his actions didn't have the effect he expected, and often, that makes him want to make amends. The unexpected creates discomfort, and discomfort leads to change. But what really makes a man afraid of losing a woman? What commands respect effortlessly and makes him put in the effort to keep you? The answer lies in something far more powerful than just words or isolated actions. Nothing messes with a man's head more than realizing he's not the center of your world. When a woman has a life full of plans, friends, and things that make her happy without depending on him, he understands that he has to put in effort to remain a part of it. Men love a challenge, and nothing is more attractive than a woman who is happy with or without him. But ignoring a man doesn't mean vanishing or treating him coldly. What truly gets to him is when he realizes he has lost his place in your daily life. If he once had all your attention and suddenly sees he has to compete with other priorities, insecurity kicks in. And when a man feels like he might be losing something valuable, he starts to appreciate it much more. The secret? Being genuine. You don't need to fake being busy or post cryptic messages to make him jealous. Just live your life authentically, always putting your happiness first. The more emotionally independent you are, the more he will feel the need to earn his place, rather than assuming he already has it. But what if he's so used to your ways that nothing seems to faze him anymore? There's a simple yet incredibly effective technique that can flip the script and make him see you in a completely different light. Men, like anyone else, get used to patterns. If he already knows exactly how you react, he feels secure because he knows what to expect. But when, out of nowhere, you start acting completely differently, he loses control of the situation. And that shock makes him rethink his own behavior, because suddenly he's not so sure he has everything guaranteed anymore. For example, imagine he disappears for days, and when he comes back, he expects to find you upset, demanding explanations. But instead, you greet him with a light smile and say, "Great to see you. I've been so busy I didn't even notice the time passing." Whoa, that response completely dismantles any attempt at playing games. He thought he was in control of the situation, but suddenly he starts wondering if he's the one losing you. Another way to break patterns is by changing the dynamic. If he's used to you always being available, do the opposite. Stop replying to messages instantly. Go out more without letting him know. Invest in new projects that don't involve him. These small changes make him see you differently and feel the need to put in effort to win you over again. But is changing your actions enough? What truly makes a man respect a woman and see her as someone unique and special? The answer lies in how you set boundaries without fear. Men test limits all the time, often without even realizing it. If a woman always gives in, he understands that he can cross boundaries without facing real consequences. But when she knows how to say no firmly, without needing to over-explain, he learns to respect her. Setting boundaries with confidence shows that she values herself and won't accept less than she deserves. The way you say no makes all the difference. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, stay calm and be direct. If he suggests something you don't like, simply say, "No, that doesn't work for me." No excessive justifications, no apologies. This approach sends a clear message. Your approval doesn't depend on him, and if he wants to stay in your life, he needs to respect you. Many women fear that setting boundaries will push a man away, but the truth is the opposite. Men respect women who respect themselves. When he realizes that you have standards and won't compromise them out of fear of losing him, he starts to see you differently. He may test your limits once, but if he sees that you stand your ground, he'll think twice before trying again. But what happens when he realizes he no longer has control and starts pulling away? There comes a point when the best response isn't just setting boundaries, it's walking away entirely. Not every situation is worth your effort. Some relationships reach a point where insisting only means wasting time and self-esteem. Confident women understand when a man isn't going to change, and instead of trying to fix him, they simply remove themselves. This is the most powerful punishment because it teaches a lesson without needing words. He lost something he can't get back. Many women make the mistake of giving endless chances, hoping that at some point he'll recognize his mistakes and change. But a man only feels the impact of your absence when he realizes you're truly gone. No games. That means cutting off contact, stopping any false hopes, and moving forward without looking back. The lack of access to you is what truly makes him regret. When a woman has the courage to walk away without drama or ultimatums, she steps into a position of power. A man who is used to seeing women beg or offer second chances feels the shock of real loss. Sometimes he might even try to come back. But at that point, the choice is yours. To reopen that door or move forward knowing you deserve something much better. And that's the difference between just any woman and a high-value woman. She doesn't try to punish. She simply lives according to her standards. And that, in itself, is the greatest lesson for a man who didn't know how to appreciate her. If you enjoyed these tips, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any new videos. And now, watch the next video appearing on the screen, where I'll share another powerful secret to transform your love life.